The race for Contender only continues to get closer to an end, but the view gets slightly cloudy as the series kicks dirt for the very first time. Where tonight we welcome you to the penultimate race for round 2 in the 2022 eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, and where we bring you our coverage live on Podium Esports. The home stretch is here, and we are happy to have you join us. We're alongside Rachel Whiteford atop the Bristol Dirt Motor Speedway. My name is Kenneth Blenna. We'll have Ryan Bauer pushing all of the buttons tonight. He's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. A round of firsts, Rachel, is the prime way to describe this round 2 schedule over and over again, week after week after week. We always see a new type of track. This one, Bristol Dirt, no different. It took us one race. Knoxville was the first race of round number 2 1 year ago, but this time it's the penultimate race, which means points are at a premium, and these drivers are going to get shaken up quite a bit here tonight.
Yeah, they absolutely are. Now, let's not forget this schedule has included Mid-Ohio, Pocono, Michigan, IRP, Darlington, now Bristol, before we go to something almost a breath of fresh air, regular Texas. But this has definitely been an unusual round, and Bristol Dirt seems somehow appropriate. It's going to be an interesting race, I can tell you that much. I am not sure what we're going to see here, if I'm honest. There will be trucks racing, there will be dirt, and we're going to see a lot of dirt, I can guarantee that. But it's going to be really interesting, I think, just because there is an unknown factor. There are points on the line here people desperately need. There are people on the cusp. And this is going to be really, really tough for them.
And this round touted, you and I have been talking about so much over the course of this round 2 schedule, that this is really an all-around round. If you're not a driver that can handle the road courses, if you're not a driver that can handle the bigger tracks, the shorter tracks, even the dirt tracks like tonight, then you're going to have a tough time even getting through this second round and being set for Contender later on this fall. You take a look overhead at our track map. Images, of course, provided to us by Google Earth. And this Bristol Motor Speedway is usually the concrete surface that we're used to, but just slap some dirt on it, and this is exactly what we have tonight. It's the same 0.533 miles you see on the normal asphalt track, and it opened back in 1961. Bristol Motor Speedway did, but this dirt track didn't find its way in a debut until 2021, 1 year ago, when the NASCAR Cup Series made its first dirt track race since a long time, and they have been racing there ever since. They had a night race this year, and we're going to have a night race this time around. You'll find 22 to 24 degrees of banking in turns 1 through 4. You'll have 9 degrees on the straightaways. That banking slightly changed from usual 26 to 30 degrees you'll find on the normal version of this track. But Rachel, we have a countless amount of drivers that are looking for a solid entrance, or at least a breakthrough into the top 20 in the point standings. We've talked about it just a little bit as we've moved into the second half of the season. But if you take a look at our race analysis, this is exactly what's on the plate for all those guys just wanting to make sure they have a points buffer, or that they can get over the cut line by the time this round is over.
Yeah, for anybody who had a really rough time out at, for example, Darlington, this could be a problem. This is going to be a tricky track for them because there's so much that can go wrong and so much that is in the hands of other drivers. So they have to be incredibly careful here, but know when to push if they need it. So it's going to be really important to balance this one correctly and understand the flow of this race early. I think we're going to see a lot of tentative racing at first until people find the lay of the land.
Yeah, it's definitely true, and especially at a dirt track, you're going to need that rhythm more than ever, really, apart from all the other tracks that we've had here on the schedule. Again, first and only time we will see dirt in round number 2, having it surprisingly late in the calendar. I already mentioned that Knoxville was the first and only dirt race in round 2 1 year ago, but that was the first race, so directly off of getting into the top 70, you had that dirt race, you were able to square that away and then work on the rest of the schedule. But tonight, everyone has this track circled just because they want to probably get away from it as much as possible. They want to get this race over with and at least make sure they have a clean race truck to the end, although that is never guaranteed, even on the normal side of Bristol Motor Speedway. But when you add on dirt, it only adds on to the chaos. Qualifying has ticked down to 0. It means it's our time to take you trackside, see exactly where every single driver will start tonight's race in our 110 lap feature here tonight from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway, and it's dirt configuration. Joey Brown sets the fastest time in qualifying, an 18.522 will bring him to the green flag first ahead of everybody else. He will have Ryan Doucette to his outside in that very first row. Daniel Nanny in his machine, he rolls off inside of row number 2. He starts third. He will have Pocono winner Boyd Hogan to his outside in that second row. Timmy Holmes and Kyle Myers will be inside top 5 and top 6. They'll both line up in row number 3 before you find Walter Mann in the 62. Anthony Burrows, he starts inside row number 4. He will have Daniel Burafoco in the 13 to his very outside. Final 2 drivers in your top 10 include the 95 of Dalton Collins and the 99 of Christopher Hill.
After them is Andrew Navarro in the 42 truck there in 11th place with Matt Facapa in 12th. 13th place is going to be Wyatt Tinsley in the 20 truck with the 29 truck of Kevin King on his outside in 14th. Behind them, Michael Bumgartner in the number 5 truck, or 95 truck there, with the 4 truck of Jordi Lopez on the outside. Akadol Phillip in the 22, starting 17th. 18th will be Jackson Crowder. 19th is going to be, for us tonight, Drew Farrance in the 2 with Timmy Paciolo in the 86.
It'll be former pro dirt sprint car driver on the iRacing side, Alex Bergeron. He's wearing the number 1 truck in sim tonight. He's got the 12 though on his paint team. He starts 21st, so a lot of work he has to do to get to the front. Same deal for Christopher Pfeffer. He starts his Toyota Tundra TRD Pro outside in at 22nd starting spot. And it'll be Justin Knobloch in 23rd, Connor Horn in 24th, and then our final row, batch of drivers that did not take a qualifying time, the 99 of Michael Cozy Jr. and Thomas Keane. 26 trucks strong here from Bristol. Of course, a couple of weeks back at the Darlington Raceway, we had a 30 truck field, so a little minimized compared to what we've had the past couple of weeks, but no doubt, still a lot of drivers ready to take on the dirt action here tonight. Of course, it is a night race here from Bristol Motor Speedway. Track temp around 69 degrees, not as hot as you would anticipate under the moonlight. 79 degrees on the air temp, winds to the south at around 4 miles an hour. We are approaching 8 o'clock in sim time. I think we're getting close to around the same time that the real life NASCAR Camping World Truck Series is getting set to get the green flag from the normal version of the Bristol Motor Speedway. Kicking dirt for the very first time in round 2. It'll be Joey Brown, Ryan Doucette slipping to the green flag, and we're underway in the penultimate race of the 2022 eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series.
Yeah, we have 1 truck starting on pit road as well there. It's going to be Cozy Jr., I think, they're starting out from pit road, or he's coming back down pit road. I'm not sure if this is just a start for him, but it's already getting busy. 3 wide up and the 4 wide up in the turns there. Getting real crazy here.
We saw 1 driver back out of it immediately. That was Wyatt Tinsley. They were about 4 wide around Daniel Budafoco, Michael Bumgarner, Matt Kappa, and Dad. Indeed, they are still 3 wide. Wyatt Tinsley falling back to the top 14. Michael Cozy Jr. looks like he's already on a pit road, just letting the whole field by. He's going to go immediately 1 lap down, so some problems there early on for the Logitech G Altus Esports driver, but still around 3 wide as you watch the potential battle for the lead. Daniel Nanny looking now on your race leader, Joey Brown, as they go side by side for 3rd.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot more racing for the lead, I think, in this race. It'll be so much harder to make a gap on this track as we do indeed get Brown, Nanny, Holmes, and Hogan there in this front grouping. In fact, it's nose to tail here, all the way through the lap of these 5 or 6 trucks here at the front. And then it's just synchronized sideways to the corners. Dirt racing, baby. There's something special about it, but it's just so still weird for me seeing this at Bristol. I know it's not the first time or last time, but it's so strange. Round they go. And this really does make the Grass Great Coliseum feel much more like an actual Coliseum.
It definitely feels that way. One thing to also note, the driver who started outside row 1, Ryan Doucette, is in a free fall through the field. Last time he clocked in a lap, he was around 17th on the racetrack. And look at him now, the batch of trucks on the very inside. He falls back now to 22nd on the dirt surface. So Doucette already having some issues, and we talked about Michael Cozy Jr. going a lap down. The teammate, Jordi Lopez Jr., has also gone a lap down, and they're going around him. There seems to be some trucks sideways. Jackson Crowder at the very inside of the racetrack. He's going to be able to save it. Caution will not wave for now. We will stay green. But already, Rachel, in the opening laps of tonight's race, Logitech G Altus Esports not having a good time. All 3 of them struggling in the early going.
Yeah, they really do seem to be, but we'll see how that one plays forward. But yeah, not a great look out for that team, as we're starting to see some separation of lines here. Some trucks starting to go a little bit higher, and these corners, and we're seeing some actual traction here. just around the outside there. Believe that's going to be the... This is 8 on the truck. I can never quite tell who these people are, because they do like to keep changing their numbers around. It is the 8 of Burrows. Really, really sideways, but up high. In fact, he went round the trucks below him there in 3 and 4.
Anthony Burrows working in a P4, and we got our caution now out for the very first time. It looks to be Kevin King, the number 29, our first victim here, our first yellow thrown as of only 10 laps of green flag racing. We believe another driver is involved, and we can confirm it is a Logitech Gialtis eSports driver, and it's Michael Cozy Jr. Watch this, middle 3 wide, Kevin King. He works around Jordy Lopez Jr., who's also a lap down, but right about here, gets into the slick stuff. You see that darker part of the section in the inside of the racetrack. That's been slickened off. A lot of these drivers using that lane in practice and qualifying. The track did not get reset, so that is the slickest part of the venue. Kevin King just got caught sideways at the very wrong moment, and Michael Cozy Jr., who was just trying to avoid it, just could not do anything to avoid that sliding number 29, and both of them with some significant damage as of the opening laps of tonight's race.
Yeah, really hard to avoid anything. Once you're in the corner here, your trajectory is very much locked. It's not like an asphalt track where you can really modify that line a ton. Once you are full chat in the corner here, you're kind of stuck into a groove. But no, people that haven't seen much dirt before, you will notice here, that is rubber going down on the dirt. Yeah, that is a thing. They will put rubber onto this dirt, and it will make it a very unpleasant line to be on for a lot of this.
Couple of drivers coming out on pit road. That is 21st on back that made a trip down to the lane. Obviously, strategy doesn't look like it's going to be too big of a factor, considering that this is a dirt race and pit road won't necessarily be playing a huge role in all of that. But we'll just have to see. Again, 110 laps. We are going a while here from Bristol, so who knows, but a majority of the drivers on pit road looking for some damage repair to kick things off early as of lap number 12. Well, if you want to learn more about the growing world of eNASCAR and all of its happenings, you can scan the QR code on the bottom right of your screen, or you can visit eNASCAR.com and sign up today to get all the latest news and updates from the final 2 races of the Road to Pro qualifying iRacing Series in 2022, the eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series playoffs, and much, much more. eNASCAR Coca-Cola iRacing Series, their race from Bristol happened a couple of days ago. It's certainly a showstopper, had a lot of crazy moments, some big crashes, playoff implications, and ultimately just adding on to the Bristol excitement and the anticipation as we were rolling into this Bristol Dirt race. But Rachel, I think apart from that slickened off line at the very inside, was there anything that you noticed particularly, maybe some comers or goers, or any highlights that you may have noted over the first 13 laps?
I think the biggest takeaway here is the line's changing very rapidly around here, and that's one thing these guys are going to have to adapt to. We're seeing it really move as this race goes on, that these guys are going to be going up and down the track here, and they're finding different grooves that work for them, and it's a very, very live track here compared to other races where you will see a change, but it will be over hundreds of laps. Here, it's going to be over 5-10 laps, really. So we're going to see a lot of movement around here, a lot of decisions, and I think as the groove gets more rubbed in overall, and it's changed dramatically even over 13 laps we've had here now, once we get a lot of rubber down, it's going to be a really nasty track to be on.
It's definitely true. That aerial shot, I think, provides the best look at how far this track has gone since the drop of the green, and it's only going to get darker, that very inside line, and you're going to see more drivers maybe kick up toward that outside wall. It is menacing. It can damage you if you play that line wrong against the cushion, but that may be the fastest way around the track once we get some more laps in. Joey Brown, since he's had the pole, he has never looked back, but it is Timmy Holmes on his outside falling back as we get the restart here on lap number 14 at 110. Daniel Nanny already looking to the bottom for second.
A lot of these shorter tracks, you really want to be third for a restart. It's first or third. Second could really suffer as we get them too wide. Oh, no contact there, high. So 5 of the 20 getting real heavy there in this one as they get themselves through again. 4 wide is going to be a real common thing tonight for these trucks. Wow, yeah, the 2 wide sideways, this is a really surreal experience for trucks, honestly, for me. But the movement is good. Everyone's keeping a good distance here. We're seeing 3 wide even in the corners here, which is insane. But a lot of bumping, a lot of contact, not big, a lot of rubbing though.
Oh, rubbing is racing here in the stock car racing world. And speaking of rubbing, they just had a rubbing moment there for Kappa and Michael Bumgarner made contact. Bumgarner slid up the track. He's now fallen back to 13th, and you're right on the board with the driver who's occupying 12th as of the moment. Alex Bergeron has gotten around Bumgarner. They're going to make contact, though, at the exit of turn 4, sideways all over the place. They're going to be able to save it with the physicality already growing. Bumgarner going to slide to the faster groove in front of Wyatt Tinsley, you're right on board with right now. Tinsley, he's had some strong runs in this 2022 eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing Series season, but at this point, it just looked like he's trying to survive. Bumgarner again against Bergeron into the corner. He's going to find a way there, but Bergeron's going to clear out of the banking.
Yeah, great line there by Bergeron as he keeps his truck going around here. Expect him to be pretty good for this one. Alex has always been pretty solid with dirt, so I look forward to seeing what he goes forward here. Never qualifying perhaps, but in terms of his actual positioning, he can do a lot with this. Still 3 wide back in the pack here, getting some really good lines running in here. We've got people betting on how many cautions there are going to be in this race. I ask you a different question, viewer. How many races are going to be in this caution?
Honestly, I have no idea. They are 3 wide, though, around the top 20. Drew Freenar's in the middle of the battle here. Logitech Gialta's esports truck. Remember, Jody Lopez Jr., who was formerly a lap down. He has since unlapped himself. Ryan Doucette, he's fallen back to the field. He was not put a lap down, but he's still working in the midst of the top 20, just trying to get his pace back set. Again, these are open setups here in this Road to Pro season, so you have the opportunity to tinker with every single option that you have on the iRacing setup. And for many of these teams, they spend countless hours each and every week just making sure they can dial things in. It looks like for the Logitech Gialta's esports camp, it isn't necessarily the setup that's dialed in for the moment. Maybe by the time we get some more laps in, maybe things can improve. But overall, for the moment, they don't seem to be performing as well. Right on board with the grill cam of Drew Freenar. He's working on Christopher Pfeffer. This is just for the last spot into the top 20. He's not going to be able to clear. He's got that nice view, though, of the 2 Logitech Gialta's esports truck working the very inside. Now they're starting to make up some spots, and here comes Michael Cozy Jr. in the mix for it as well.
Yeah, Cozy taking a look there as well, but it's still going to be early days in this one. We're 24 laps in here. A lot of line changes going on towards the very top here. We're seeing a big majority of this field going right up against the cushion here and getting a good run around the track. So we're really starting to see Bristol shift back towards almost more of its asphalt behavior here, where we see them really running up top. The track is really being shoved around a lot here too. We're seeing them get up in that cushion to actually use it for their, for stability almost. I think the track is really good rating below them.
It definitely is, and although a lot of guys are holding out hope on the slicker part of the racetrack, maybe their setups are tuned that way, that outside with the cushion is going to provide the best amount of grip, and off of the progressive banking, it is going to help out of the corners. It's helping Timmy Holmes right now, who has made a solid move ever since starting 5th in tonight's race. He's had a lot of pace since the drop of the green flag, and he is not afraid to show it. He's been putting some comparative lap times, in fact, faster lap times than your race leader. Look on board from the front bumper of Joey Brown, looking back at the fellow Chevy Silverado last time by as they crossed the line, or rather this time by 19.266 for your leader, 19.297 for second place. Of course, comparative lap times rather close. Joey Brown, though, a little faster this time as he's migrated to the top. I think he noticed, Rachel, that Holmes was making work up there and said, all right, there's more grip up here. How about I just take your line right quick?
Yeah, there's a lot of going to school with dirt racing. You got to look at the guys behind you, what they're doing. Are they gaining on you? Where are they running? How are they running? And look how quickly this line here has broadened in the corner. If we can get a good high angle here at some point from our producers, you can really see this, but it really is starting to thicken up there. Look at it in 1 and 2. It's getting really, really, really busy. And I think that's going to really change how this race plays, because we're going to run out of that, should we say, virgin track for these guys, and they're going to have to deal with the slick portion, which means the trucks really set up to run it will do better.
And mind you, Rachel, this is only after 30 laps of completion, give or take, so we've still got so much more left in this race to go. And if you're already looking at a majority slicked up track, by the time you cross the line for lap 31, you are set in for a slick-filled rest of the race. You're right on board with Boyd Hogan, who continues to occupy the 4th place position. He's catching up on the fellow F-150. Up in front of him, Dan Unani in the 21. He's kind of lagged back just a little bit as this run has progressed, and the opening is there. Here comes Boyd Hogan to the outside for 3rd, but meanwhile, Timmy Holmes has made the outside work for the race lead. He tags the outside wall. He makes it
Got it.
work against the 17 of Joey Brown. And to the front, Timmy Holmes will go, new race leader for Bristol Dirt.
This outside's really getting it going, and you see him just a little tag of the line, the wall there as he gets through the corner, almost kind of straightening him out here. He's using that. Watch, he gets right up there and just bounces off that cushion and comes straight back down again. And it's really launching him out there. The 17 of Brown, he's just really not quite finding that same line here. There's bit of a slap there for 3, more than a touch, but hey, if it helps you turn, right?
That's definitely true. Some drivers use the wall to get a little more rotation or just to settle themselves through when you're that sideways. Sometimes you need a little bit of a check-in, and a lot of those guys use that outside wall just to make sure they can get back straight, although you do risk getting some rear end damage, and that's the last thing you want, the aerodynamics to get all messed up, as it looks like Joey Brown is starting to fall to the cusp of even third place Boyd Hogan. There's going to be a challenge here inside and outside for second, and easy work it'll be made for Boyd Hogan. He makes the slip through, and Boyd Hogan will occupy P2. He'll try to chase down your race leader, who's already opened things up to an 0.8 of a second gap. But what I'm noticing here, Rachel, is that Brown, although he did use the high side to fend off against Timmy Holmes a little earlier on, he stayed faithful to the very slick inside line. Is this just some hope that maybe it's going to come back later in the race once that outside slickens off? Or is it just the only line he's comfortable running with in this setup, and it's costing him a lot of time?
Not sure we're going to be able to tell here, really, because this could evolve over the duration of this race into what we finally see. Starting to see Dalton Collins find some legs, by the way, in one of the Logitech GLTC sports trucks. Want to see where they go with that, but Holmes has really found something here, and I don't think we're calling it rear end damage here, Kenneth. I think we call it a splitter adjustment.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's dirt. You got to be a little aggressive. You got to be a little roughened up. There's no little tap, little aerodynamic fall, I guess. I mean, yes, aerodynamics do get affected, but, you know, it's always fine to have a little hit here and there. These NASCAR stock car trucks are very hefty. They can take some hits before they inevitably break. We were watching a battle earlier on through the field. That was the top 10, Ryan Doucette and Andrew Navarro going at it. Andrew Navarro, the two-time winner here in round number 2, got a win at the IRP racetrack in Indianapolis. Also got the win a couple of weeks back at the Michigan International Speedway. He's had a very successful round 2 campaign. He looks to carry that on into the Contender Series later on this year. And you're watching a scuffle around the top 15 led by Michael Bumgarner in his Ford F-150. He carries Alex Bergeron on his back, Matt Forcappa. There's Michael Cozy Jr., a lap truck making his way through it, Daniel Budafoco. So there are some hefty hitters here, Rachel, trying to tussle for position around the top 12.
Yeah, they absolutely are, and I'm a little surprised here. Maybe this is going to be the commentator's curse. It's been, like I said, quiet on shift, but I'm surprised how clean this has been so far. We're on lap 42 with 1 caution. I was expecting a bloodbath here, and they're actually dialing this thing in really well. I shouldn't be surprised, because the Contender Series, well, not Contender, sorry, the Road to Pro Series has really showed us how talented these guys are going to be heading towards the Contender Series. But we're seeing the lines change now. Holmes has gone down low again. He's starting to move that line, so we're seeing a real evolution here, and it is almost lap by lap. It's by feel, where these guys are finding more grip. He's running on that slicker stuff now. His tires start to wear in a little bit here, and maybe that's going to be helpful. We'll have to see.
And also that outside lane is starting to slicken off too, so all that grip that you had up there is now falling off as more drivers continue to run that lane. You watch a couple of drivers that are up around the top 5. This is Anthony Burrows in his number 62 Ford F-150 in a battle against Daniel Nanny. This could change for P number 4. But Burrows will hit the outside wall, and he's going to slick off that Ford F-150. He's going to fall back, and now here comes Jordy Lopez Jr. to the inside, and I think there's a turnaround here as we've completed more laps. Look who's in the picture, the Logitech Gialtis eSports truck. We had one of them in Jordy Lopez Jr. a lap down earlier on in this race, and Doucette falling as far back as the top 22. But now that the track has worn down, now that the slick stuff is starting to kick in, these guys are logging fast lap after fast lap. But it's going to halt for a moment. Caution flag waves. Wyatt Tinsley, Danny Budafoco, and the number 2 of Drew Freenarge involved in the mess.
Did I jinx that? Oh no. How sad.
Oh no. The commentator's curse strikes again. We'll see exactly what happened. Danny Budafoco, this is with Wyatt Tinsley. Tinsley in that pink and white Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. That's Danny Budafoco in the neon colored 13. Looks like just a stack up there, Rachel, on the very high side. Matt Forcappa was leading that group. And then you see the aftermath of it, of Drew Freenar's just trying to slow down, could not do it, slid the truck directly into the front end of the 13. There may be some engine damage on Budafoco's behalf, but just looked like a sandwich stack up on the high side of the racetrack.
Yeah, it's not a lot of movement you can do when you're sideways on the racetrack. You can't really adjust too much. It's unfortunate. It is what it is, though. We'll get wrecks. It's going to happen. See, normally, by the way, you're not meant to get a... Oh, that was horrible looking at from that view. Yeah, wrecks are going to happen, but... You know, the commentator's curse isn't meant to work when you want it to. That's not how this is meant to behave, but... you see, this is an important piece of information here. Brakes don't really work when you're sideways. The tyres need to be kind of in the rolling direction for them to usually behave. The side on, you're just going to keep sliding in general. There's not a lot of correction. The only thing you can really do there is try and accelerate out of it, but that's only going to adjust your lines somewhat. It's really not going to behave like a car normally would, so it really does... Unfortunately, once you're locked into an accident, it's going to happen regardless, and... Hey... Actually, no. Someone in the chat does make a very good point. They never stop on asphalt either, so... Yeah, no, good point.
Well, they can stack it up on the asphalt side, so yeah, that is a good argument. I was about to say that on the normal Bristol track, you can have enough grip to swerve out of the way, or at least try to. I know there's not that much space when people start crashing here, even normally without the dirt, but still, I mean, relatively hard here on the dirt surface to get around the wreck, especially in the case that Drew Freenar was in. He had to slide in. He kind of caught the wreck at the very last moment. His only option was to hop on the brakes and just hope it would stick, and unfortunately it didn't. He's got some heavy front end damage, and as for him and Daniel Budafoco, they have since gone one lap down or more. Budafoco getting the brunt end of it. He's 4 laps down, dead last in 25th. That crash, though, does bring Michael Cozy Jr. back on the lead lap. So all that time that Michael Cozy Jr. was wondering when the caution would come out, when he would get his chance to race on the lead lap with everybody else for position, he's got it. And now, as we will come closer to our next restart, he will have that opportunity to catch up with his fellow Logitech G-Altus Esports teammates who hold in 5th and 7th on the racetrack. As we continue our race here from Bristol Dirt, a short reminder for you that our coverage tonight here on Podium Esports is brought to you by Boosted.biz. Boosted builds a custom platform for your brand to sell your products. They take care of everything, and you can pay nothing and let them handle the rest. To get started with your online store, you can visit boosted.biz today. So, Rachel... Oh, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, I think one of the big takeaways from this so far has been everyone's being very cautious. I thought they would for the first half. I think it's going to get worse in the second half here when these guys really try to put something in here. But the biggest thing with Bristol, whether it's asphalt or dirt, is your spotter is vital. Because you haven't got that much visibility. You could be in the crash before you've even started entering the corner, because you're committed to a line, really, at Bristol. So there's not a lot of getting out of that. And your spotter needs to be heads up and looking ahead of you to where traffic could become a problem, and we get ready for that restart, and they go really early. Holmes goes for it super early in the corner there, right as the pace truck pulls off, and they're already in this thing. And we're going to see a good mixture of trucks here on different strategies, so this could get quite interesting.
And we're closing in on the second half as well of the race as Joey Brown looks to the inside of Boyd Hogan. This will be a challenge for second. And here comes the Logitech G-Altus Esports Brigade, almost making it 3 wide. Jody Lopez Jr. moving to the very bottom side of the racetrack. Brown with a huge slide job on Boyd Hogan. Unsuccessful. There were 3 wide for a split second. Timmy Holmes is going to be able to run away for the moment as he'll slap the outside wall, but the mess of trucks only gets worse around the top 5 and top 10.
Yeah, it really does start to get very busy. A lot of different speeds here. We're seeing a lot of people getting past and passing under. Oh, quite a lot of trucks slapping the outside wall. That's not a slap, no. That's a boot to the jaw in some of those cases. They're not just tapping it for turning here. We've got 3 wide up towards the front now.
And that's a lap truck on the very bottom. Michael Bumgarner just came out of pit road, the whole field flying by, and Bumgarner just going to try and instill himself safely in the mix. It looks like he's able to do so, but they are all over the place in the battle for the race lead. It looked like Timmy Holmes had been able to run away with P1 in the latter half of that first stint, but here come the Ford F-150s. Jordi Lopez Jr. to the inside for the lead into the corner.
Yeah, great launch there by Jordi as he gets that truck in the right spot here, but so much busyness. This is where people, oh, whoa, wrecking. Oh my God, he flipped. And the quarterback is toast.
And that's a huge crash. Kyle Myers up and over. In the middle of the banking, he got turned by Dalton Collins. And that creates a huge stack up as they were about 3 wide on the straightaway that looked to be out of turn 2 into turn 3. Matt Forcappa gets into it. Andrew Navarro is into it as well. And just a huge selection of trucks. Jackson Crowder, Wyatt Tinsley, Agno Phillip involved. Look at the huge flip by Kyle Myers. He immediately toes it behind the wall. His night is over from Bristol Dirt. And Rachel, I think the jinx has only gotten worse. You've messed it up. You've messed it up. You said everybody was clean, and now we've got the big one on lap number 57.
No. This isn't me. They wanted to do this themselves. This was going to happen regardless. I don't think they're listening to me in the slightest bit. Man, I didn't expect to see a truck upside down in the air, though. That's new. Oh my God, that camera angle. That was interesting. Can I see the onboard from the truck that flipped? That's what I want to see. I want to replay the flipping truck from the onboard view there. I want to see how it felt for him. Because he just turned sideways, caught, boing. Whoa!
Wow.
That's a ride.
And again,
Disney couldn't do it better.
And again, nothing you could do there on the dirt. Again, mentioned the normal Bristol Motor Speedway. You have more of an opportunity to get away from it, hop on the brakes. The truck will grip onto the racetrack, even if you have somewhat worn tires. Here on the dirt, though, like you said, when you're committed to a line, you can't exit very quickly. When things happen like that, such a high rate of speed, all these drivers getting packed into the corner, all of them start going sideways, they start making contact. All you can do is really just brace for impact and hope that you can escape on the other side as cleanly as possible. But unfortunately for a majority of those guys, it is a shunt that most likely would kick them out of this race. Jackson Crowder, Agno Phillip, Wyatt Tinsley among the plethora of drivers on pit road. Looking to get damage repaired. Tinsley is categorized, or actually never mind, it's now Drew Freenarge categorized as the first truck, 1 lap down in 19th. So only 18 trucks on the lead lap as a result of that huge crash to bring us under caution with about 50 laps to go for the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Just a reminder, as we're under caution, that we are brought to you by our friends at Battle Beaver. Battle Beaver has everything you need for your next professionally modded custom controller. With options for PlayStation, Xbox, GameCube, and more, Battle Beaver has everything you need to elevate your gaming potential. Head to BattleBeaverCustoms.com to customize your controller, and you can use the code PODIUM for 10% off. Oh, Rachel, I knew that there was a new Call of Duty showcase earlier today. I might have missed it. I know a lot of people watched it, but if you are excited for the new Call of Duty game, excited for that new racing-themed map that we're going to have when the game comes out, I know a lot of people are going to be excited for that, so maybe hit up Battle Beaver and get a custom controller for that.
Tenuous plug is tenuous. Oh my god, that segue was that was a really rough segue, buddy. That was no, definitely check out Battle Beaver though. They do make great peripherals for controllers and custom controllers. They do some fantastic work. And I actually am looking at getting one myself. I don't use my controller that much. That's how enticing it is. But, yeah, no. I tried to not pay attention to the Call of Duty clip. Am I the only one in that camp? Green flag.
Yeah, I'm not the only one. I'm also in that group either, but I just wanted to mention it. Green flag back in the air here, 49 laps to go. And look already, they messed around the top 5. Boyd Hogan against Ryan Doucette. This is a challenge for third, all trying to get around Jordi Lopez Jr., but the two Logitech Gialtis eSports trucks are going to hold on to the inside, and a slight change for the race lead will happen, but they will maintain out of turn 4. Lopez Jr. versus Holmes going back to turn 1.
It's a real mess of trucks behind them. They were like 3 wide, 5 deep, and it was getting really busy. But Bergeron's working his way up here. 21st, 7th. I told you he was a good one to watch out for on dirt. In fact, he's currently running the high side up here, right in a mess of trucks. He's getting a great run through the line. In fact, he gets squirted out there to the front of that whole pack as he takes this real. That's a big slap. That's a suspension readjustment, I believe they call those in dirt racing. But the 11's getting a bit of a body check on the 20. Bergeron staying way out of it up top. It's getting really congested down there as they're coming down. They're going up. There's a squeeze, another slap by the 11. I believe the 11 thinks the 20 is there to be his assisted braking unit. So apparently the 20 is now the 11's caboose.
And this was the saving grace. That caution at least was for Michael Cozy Jr. because look at him now into the top 10. So he's able to join his teammates, being some of the faster ones on the very bottom side of the racetrack. We saw everybody hugging that bottom side when we started tonight's race, but look how far this track has gone in terms of slickness, and that everybody basically wants to go all the way to the very top. And there's only a select few trucks that can make it work on the bottom. That's been the magic of the speed over the course of this run. It looks like Timmy Holmes has fallen short of the race lead. He's fallen short of second and now may fall short of your pole sitter. Joey Brown, as you look on board on the rear side of Joey Brown, on the front side here of Boyd Hogan in the number 7 machine, he's into the top 5. They continue to go side by side, but Jordy Lopez Jr., Ryan Doucette are only running away with this. And Rachel, they're just letting all these other guys do the dirty work, no pun intended, just go for the battle and then lose more time. Jordy Lopez Jr., Ryan Doucette can just play their own game, run single file.
Yeah, really can, and they've got to try and play that. They've got to try and be in their own race here and not focus on the rest. Try and make that space and make it work here. But I've still got my eyes here on Bergeron here. He's working on the 8 now and the 11 here, trying to find a way through this thing as we get some big shifts by some of these trucks trying to find a way through this stuff. And looking for an exit out, he's trying to find a way down below the 8. They're both at very similar speed, but I think the one a little quicker goes for low side here. Look at that, wow, slide jump's coming up. Is it going to hold in time? I don't think he will. I think he lost the speed there mid-corner, but gets it back in place. He's trying to find a way through this. I think the high side's just too quick right now.
Yeah, it's too quick, and for Bergeron right now, that seems to be where he's at his fastest. So changing lines to the very inside where it's slickened off even more, it's only a cumbersome approach there if you're that number 12 machine. Alex Bergeron comes into tonight 38th in the point standing, so not necessarily in a large amount of danger to not get into the contender series, but some good points would go a long way going into the Texas Motor Speedway and our final race of round 2. An attempted slide job failed there as Anthony Burrows was able to make the crossover. He moves to the inside as we'll look back up through the field. Continuous battle for third. Joey Brown, Timmy Holmes going at it. Brown with an attempted slide job, but cannot work. Timmy Holmes will clear again for P3.
Yeah, looking again down below here, trying to find something to work with this one. Browns and Holmes, they were battling all this last segment we had, and they're doing it again here, just really keeping a good flow through this race. As up to the top he goes, bit of a slap on the wall, gets it down, having a good exit again. Holmes just really finds the line faster, I think.
And Holmes is holding on for the moment, but then they may have another driver behind them by the time this race is over if we stay green in the next 37 laps or so. And you're looking at a Michael Cozy Jr. in the 99. Look at the last time set, 19.5. Hogan, Holmes, Joey Brown in the 19.6, 19.7 bracket. So Michael Cozy Jr. is approaching, and he's approaching fast.
Yeah, Cozy Jr. is definitely one to watch. From that restart to getting back on the lead lap, it's been a huge thing for him. Almost last in this field. In fact, I believe he was on pit road to start, where he started from down there. And he's working his way back up here again, and he's really got it flowing at the moment. Wow, the one slamming it into three slamming it into those corners. It really is. Lopez and Doucette, though, they're just too far out here.
And they've been able to pull away, and thanks to Brown and Holmes continuously going side by side lap after lap, it's only helped their endeavor to spread away from the rest of the field. They had Wyatt Tinsley in front of them as a lap truck. In fact, they still do. I saw Wyatt Tinsley go down pit road, but I guess they just cycled back altogether. So Tinsley still part of the group of lap traffic. We're going to monitor that as things roll forward. But here's the third truck I was talking about, the tertiary driver here in Michael Cozy Jr. underneath Joey Brown. This is a move for fourth. Can't quite do it out of the corner. He'll look into 3 and 4 this time by. And as Holmes hits the outside wall, he's only looking into that left side mirror and seeing that 99 come closer and closer out of turn 4. Will cross the line for 33 laps to go from Bristol Dirt. Cozy Jr. will change his line. But I think there is a matter of fact here, Rachel, and that is that the 99 will get by these two unless he gets held up.
Oh, he absolutely will. The 99 is such a fast track here. Just really pushing things at the moment, and I think we'll see a great run from them. But Cozy Jr. is so far. Oh, that was a big tank slapper there on the 3. But it's now 3 wide. I don't think anyone needs to give up.
3 wide there. Cozy Jr. gets a little bit sideways, so he falls back. Joey Brown aiming to clear on Holmes this time by. He will be successful, so Holmes will fall back. He'll get the run out of the corner, but Michael Cozy Jr. is not letting up. This time, he will clear Holmes for P number 4, and he'll try to close in on Joey Brown for third. But does he have enough momentum on the low side?
I don't know just yet. He's really not quite got it yet. He's got 3, but he has to work on the 17 now, Brown. And that's going to be the really tricky spot for him here, I think, just to try and find a way through as he's going to get really tight down there. Can he hold the low side? He does. He's really got a good amount of grip in that track.
Yeah, Cozy Jr. really able to roll the bottom, whereas a lot of the drivers in the field have not been able to. Joey Brown, you see he notices, though. He wants to roll the middle. He's going to pinch Michael Cozy Jr. as much as he can and prevent the Logitech GLTC Sports 1, 2, 3. Also to note, are on the drivers first and second, Jordy Lopez Jr., Ryan Doucette. They are approaching the backside of lap traffic. Got around Drew Freenarge in the 2. They're now starting to get around Matt Ford Kappa in the 11. And while there isn't that many trucks far up the road, there is still that method of getting around the lap traffic, making sure they don't play a factor into how quick you are here as we get closer to the final 28 laps of the race. We're still side by side for third. Brown against Cozy Jr. Brown pinching as much as he can, and it's working.
Yeah, it really is. He's got him pressed into place here, but we might see a bit of a slide clear. It's not going to be enough. He can't break the overlap. Cozy Jr. just cannot find a way through this. But if he does, this will be one of the few Logitech GLTC Sports trucks that will really have a strong race here. In fact, is having a strong race here. And this is for third, but the gap is now 6 seconds to first and second. This is crazy.
And the last thing you want to do is, if you're these guys, is get lapped out of the racetrack. I doubt it'll happen in the next 26 laps or so. But for Cozy Jr. and Joey Brown, they're definitely losing more time. They are still faster than Timmy Holmes and company. Boyd Hogan now the next driver here to potentially take over a spot inside the top 5 as Holmes hits the outside wall again. There's a look at Boyd Hogan on the rear side there in his Toyota Tundra TRD Pro. Boyd Hogan having a pretty successful round 2 campaign. He is 13th in the point standings out of the top 70 going into tonight's affair from Bristol. So safe to say he may be in the running for the top 20 if he's able to have a solid one here tonight, stay in the top 5, and complete the season at the Texas Motor Speedway with a positive result as well. He is still looking on Holmes. Now he switches lanes. He'll go to the inside, and as Holmes slaps the outside wall, they'll go side by side for position. Here's Hogan looking underneath. This is for 5th. Can't quite do it, though.
No, can't quite do it yet. And the thing is, if he can get through here, if Cozy Jr. can get through and solidify this, and they get a... Well, he has obviously got through. There's a lap truck ahead of him there. But if he can get through here, and if he can hold this position, the real benefit in this is he will have a huge opportunity if we get a caution. If we get a late race caution, starting 3rd is really the good spot. You want to be there. That is ideal for a short track restart. So if Cozy Jr. restarts in 3rd, expect a battle for the win in this race.
It's definitely true. We've seen many times over the past couple of restarts that outside lane, if you're that second place driver, you cannot get a good run, and it's harder to anticipate here on the dirt, especially where things are so slick on the race leader. Now, of course, 1, 2, 3, all Logitech GLTC Esports teammates, so if they have communications with each other, chances are they won't be as hard on each other as, let's say, if they weren't teammates at all. But again, this is running for the race win. All 3 of these drivers are drivers for a reason. They want to go for that checkered flag, and they'll get it by any means necessary. Even if it is a teammate, they have to fight when it comes down for it. Andrew Navarro, Anthony Burrows, you saw them going side by side. In fact, they are still side by side. This is for 9th on the racetrack, trying to catch up to the fellow drivers up in front. Christopher Hill, Alex Bergeron, all of them have since scurried away. But Navarro looking underneath that Allegiant Ford F-150. And it's just that inside lane, Rachel, for a lot of these guys. The setups are not tailored to be fast on the slick stuff down there, so it's been so tough to make a pass on that lower side of the banking.
Yeah, it really has. They're really struggling to get down there and make things work, but they're trying their best here. They're trying to get this thing to go for it, and it will come with time. I think that's potential as Farron is there and Brown backing on racetrack, but I think we need to see a caution before the end of this thing to really see how this plays out. If it goes through to the end, I'll be surprised, because I don't think we usually expect to see a gap of 7 seconds between the 2nd and 3rd.
They continue to run away. Look at the crossover here by Anthony Burrows. A failed one, though, at that. Navarro will clear for 9th. We'll see if he can hold on to it into the final 15 laps here from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. Look at the amount of lap traffic that Ryan Doucette has to work around. That's Justin Knobloch, Christopher Pfeffer. It looks to be Dalton Collins in that group as well. And Collins, oh, that's Daniel Nanny rather. Daniel Nanny and Dalton Collins rolling some similar paint schemes out on the racetrack, but Ryan Doucette going to work it 3 wide to the inside. Remember, he is now 1.5 seconds behind your race leader, Jordi Lopez Jr., and now this is the task for Michael Cozy Jr. A quartet of trucks all running different lanes. It is so tough to work around lap traffic here at Bristol.
Yeah, it really is. Lap traffic could be our big factor in this race. We're really seeing real separation here, and they're lapped up to 10th place in this one, which is kind of crazy. Really kind of not sure what we're going to see as this one develops onwards, but with the leaders so close into this grouping, it's going to be really important to make sure they get through this clean. I think we're all keeping our eyes out very carefully for yellow, because it could come any time without us really expecting it, and they're going to make this unpredictable. But I will say, hats off to these guys for an extremely clean race. Like, this has been surprisingly clean.
We've seen a lot of clean racing as you ride on board here with Christopher Hill. He's inside the top 10. Mind you, all those guys that are lapped down or more as Ryan Doucette was getting around, they are fighting for position. It's not like they're just running around for no reason. They're running for 13th on back, 13th the highest position they could get in this pack, led of course by the number 66 of Christopher Pfeffer. So there is something to fight for. There are points to be had there around the top 15. It's just that in the grander scheme of things, they are a lap down to your race leaders, but these are points that can be beneficial. These are points that can be crucial for a lot of these guys going into the Texas Motor Speedways. There was almost contact there for a slight moment. Daniel Nanny almost getting into the number 1 machine of Justin Knobloch. These are guys further down the line in the point standings, so they definitely need a solid run here tonight from Bristol, and they all single file out for the most part, as Daniel Nanny now will work against, I think, another lap truck that is not for position here on the racetrack. So they indeed still run single file. Here's Timmy Holmes, who now falls back to P6, one of the stronger trucks when we started tonight's action here for Bristol Motor Speedway, but has since fallen back. I think he will be content, though, with a top 10 effort, Rachel, based on how fast his truck has been, and so far he's been able to weather the storm despite getting pounced by many drivers up in front of him. Holmes having a standout effort here tonight on the dirt.
Yeah, really has had a huge effort today, and I've been really impressed with how he's been running that truck. But a little surprising, really, given that we're in this sort of situation. We'll have to see how that one plays to the end of this thing. But coming up on 103 here, 110. Wow, where did that come from? This snuck up on us really fast.
And we're closing in on the final 7 laps. They cross the line 7 laps to go. You're right on board with the driver looking for a race win here, round number 2. And by the way, the battle up in front of him is for 7th. He's lapped everybody 9th on back here at this Bristol Motor Speedway. That's how quick things have happened, and that's how fast these Logitech GLTS Esports trucks are. He may have a say in this fight, although it does simmer down for the moment. Alex Bergeron will have the headway, so he'll clear for 7th. And there is Jordi Lopez Jr. working underneath Christopher Hill. That's going to stall that Toyota Tundra's run on Bergeron in front of him. We'll see if they'll be able to make some passes complete by the time this race is over. But Jordi Lopez Jr. catches 5 laps to go from Bristol Dirt.
What happened? To start this race, we were seeing how slow the Logitech GLTS Esports trucks were. They were dog water at the start of this race. No offense to those guys, but they were slow. All of a sudden, they're leading this thing. They're winning this thing. What changed?
They just a track they set up for this slick nature. Remember, we talked about how poor they had run in the first stint. With all that grip, those trucks could not be as fast as everybody else, but they predicted a race to go like this, and I think they're brave, in fact, Rachel, for predicting this race would go as long as it has under green. You have to have a certain amount of knack for what's going to happen in a race like this when you expect it to go green this long, and for your trucks to be as fast, to bet on yourself and your team. And so far that bet is paying tenfold at the moment. You still look at the battle for around 7th, Christopher Hill, Alex Bergeron. They're inviting Drew Freenarge and Andrew Navarro. Navarro, though, that 3rd truck in the back, he's actually for position. And for Drew Freenarge, he is not. He is multiple laps down. Jordi Lopez Jr., though, will come out of turns 3 and 4. He'll get around the lap truck Matt Kappa, and we'll see the white flag from the virtual Bristol Motor Speedway. We did not anticipate Logitech GLTS Esports to be this quick into a long run. They were able to remain patient, and now they occupy 1, 2, and 3 out on the racetrack. Jordi Lopez Jr. has not been victorious in round 2 of this Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, but he is now at at the start finish line. Jordi Lopez wins from Bristol Dirt.
This has really been an incredible turnaround story here for that team. They really did bet on black for the first time ever. You know, choice of red, choice of black, choice of a number. They just went for the odd choice. And it somehow stuck. I give them credit for that. Impressive.
There's Ryan Doucette to give him the congratulations. And there's Michael Cozy Jr. to make it 3. Just reminiscent of when Ford won Le Mans back in the 60s, had that 3-wide finish all the way to the end. It is a lockout effort on the podium for Logitech Gialtis Esports, and Jordi Lopez Jr. goes to victory lane for the first time in round 2 of the eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series. It's been a couple of months since Jordi Lopez Jr. has taken a checkered flag. Remember that photo finish at Atlanta Motor Speedway versus his teammate Seth DeMerchant on March 3rd. That's how long it's been, or rather March 17th, but still a long ways away from tonight. But Jordi Lopez Jr. gets the long-awaited victory, and he has his teammates to join him. Second place, Ryan Doucette. Third place to Michael Cozy Jr. Remember, Cozy Jr. did not set a qualifying time and started 25th out of the 26 trucks tonight, and he somehow gets up to 3rd in that long-run slick setup. Joey Brown, after starting on pole, did not really fall back through the field. He does a nice job of holding on for 4th. It'll be Boyd Hogan inside the top 5. Some great points for all of those guys into those positions. Timmy Holmes is the last driver on the lead lap. That is an insane stat to think about how long we've gone green here at Bristol Dirt. First truck 1 lap down is Christopher Hill, who wins that battle against Alex Bergeron. Bergeron actually falls back to the top 8. It'll be Andrew Navarro, rather top 9. Andrew Navarro holds that 8th place spot. It'll be Anthony Burrows holding out the top 10. And that is pretty much the top 10. You've got it all. 11th on back, Rachel.
Certainly do. 11th place will be Felix. Not Felix, sorry, that's a different person entirely. Michael Bumgardner with Connor Horn in 12th place. 13th, Christopher Pfeffer. Justin Knobloch in 14th. Daniel Nanny in 15th with Matt Forcappa in 16th. Kevin King 17th with Dalton Collins 18th. 19th will be Drew Farrence. Tommy L. Pacioli in 20th with Wyatt Tinsley 21st. Agnell Phillips 22nd. Jackson Crowder in 23rd. Kyle Mayers 24th. Daniel Budafuoco in 25th. And Thomas Keane last in 26th.
So that is your full 26 truck field here tonight from the virtual Bristol Dirt Motor Speedway. And it is our time to take a trip to Victory Lane. And we are joined by a winner tonight for the second time in this Road to Pro campaign in 2022. But your first win in round 2 here on the dirt side, Jordi Lopez Jr. What an unbelievable drive. You started 16th. You fell back to the field as far as 1 lap down. How were you able to make a resurgence here to take the win here tonight?
I kind of had the wrong tape and I pitted, and that helped me like get back to the groove, and the team, like, they worked very hard on the setup, so like I can't thank them enough. And yeah, man, it was a fun race.
Certainly can imagine it was fun for you out on the racetrack. I know you're working some of the lap traffic, so maybe some entertainment at the latter half of tonight's race. But talk about not only you, but this team effort. You've got your teammates behind you, 2nd and 3rd. And we just also got word that Logitech Gialtis Esports also got the win in the even split. What went behind the mastery of the setups here for Bristol Dirt?
Seth, Ryan Doucette, and Tucker, man, they work extremely hard for each race, so it really paid off. We did a lot of group testing, and it just worked really well for us.
And it worked unbelievably well. You came into tonight, though, not in a place where you had to worry all too much for the top 28th in the standings. It looked like as long as you had some solid races tonight and for Texas Motor Speedway in the weeks to come, you're going to be in contender for the fall later this year. This win, though, pretty much solidifies a spot into that series to go for the Coke Series in 2023. How high is the excitement? How high is the confidence now for you and the rest of your Logitech Gialtis Esports camp going into Texas and going for contender later this year?
It's very high now. Towards the beginning of the season, we added a few new people, and they're a joy to like be around, and they help out a lot. So we're going in more prepared than last year, so that's sort of like a good thing, considering how it was last year. And it's all about just having good luck and just practicing a lot and just trying to do your best in qualifying, especially so that way you can have more of a chance to get good points. And yeah, man, I learned a lot last season to be able to perform better this upcoming contender series.
The performance at an all-time high. You make a dominating finish to a dominating race by not only you, but the rest of your team. And you take your second win here in Road to Pro for 2022. And again, your first in this round 2 schedule. On behalf of our team here at Podium Esports, Jody, want to send you our congratulations for the win here at Bristol Dirt and for the rest of your team. I know Tucker Minter also very excited about his Bristol Dirt win as well. Wishing you the best of luck going into
I
Texas.
appreciate it, man. I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much, Blake.
Jordy Lopez Jr. victorious here from Bristol Dirt. His first win in round number 2 comes tonight, and we have a chance as well, Rachel, to talk with the second place finisher and the Logitech Gieltas Esports teammate, Ryan Doucette. You've got him.
Funny that another Logitech Gieltas Esports truck here. Ryan, incredibly busy race. It seems like your guys really weren't good with the tight track at the start. This was a truck that was ready for the slick track. Yes?
Yeah, you pretty much hit the nail on the head there. Arch, we really struggled for handling on the slick track and on the tacky track. And once it slicked off, the truck was just phenomenal. I mean, we were able to put it really where everybody else couldn't. And that was the main reason we were able to fly through the field so well.
Just tell me what it was like on track, dealing with some of the lap traffic here and avoiding incidents that were occurring. Obviously, it was a really clean race, which was a shock, actually, I think, for most of us. But was this something you guys perhaps planned for, expected? Did you expect it to be wreckfest or clean?
I mean, I definitely expected a lot of wrecks. I did not expect there to only be like 2 cautions. I think that's what we ended up having. But yeah, I expected it to be a lot wrecky, a lot more wrecky, kinda. And yeah, it was surprisingly clean.
It really was. Just you say the truck was really a lot better in the slick there. What was the line evolution like throughout this whole thing? The top seemed to be great for some of your guys, and some of you found the bottom to really work.
I mean, yeah, our truck was primarily set up to run the bottom, and that's how we kind of never really moved off of it. I tried moving off of it once, and I hit the wall and gave myself damage, and that allowed Jordy to kind of drive away from me. But yeah, the track really started off in the beginning. You could run it anywhere you wanted. In the middle, it seemed like the top was faster for everybody else, but we were able to still keep it on the bottom. And in the end, it was just kind of slick everywhere, no matter where you ran.
No, fair enough. Well, Ryan, anybody you'd like to give a shout out to or thank for this result today?
Huge shout out to all the Alta Esports guys. Our truck was just phenomenal. I guess everybody in the race for running clean and not running us over. You guys for doing the broadcast. I think that's about it. On to
Awesome. Well,
Texas.
thank you very much. Yeah, on to Texas indeed. Thanks for joining us, Ryan Doucette, coming home today in second.
So Ryan Doucette is not the last driver, though, into this Logitech Gieltas Esports 1-2-3 finish from Bristol Dirt. Will now bring in the third place finisher here tonight. It is the number 99 of Michael Cozy Jr. Michael, this race looked on the opposite spectrum for you to start. You started 25th, did not take a qualifying time. You were a lap down earlier on. How were you able to overcome all of those problems and all of the mayhem to get a third place finish here in this race?
Just a ball and setup, man. Shout out to the boys back at the shop. This thing was on rails. I'm not even much of a dirt guy. Dirt Bristol, you know, I've done it a couple of times. I know my way around here a little bit, but not too good, you know, with the dirt. Either way, yeah, not the start we were really looking for, especially being the first caution there. Somebody got around there in front of us and just I had nowhere to go. I thought I was torn to hell after it. Luckily, I only had about a minute and a half of damage. I only got about 30 seconds of it fixed. But I was at least able to get back in the lead lap. I was praying to God for a caution because we went green there for a while, and that was all I needed was the caution to get the lucky dog and get back on the lead lap. And then we were, by that time, the track was exactly where I wanted it, and we were just rolling after that. I'm telling you, I can't thank these boys enough. If the results don't show enough, this thing was good. So I really thank him, boys.
Certainly very fast for not only you, but the entire team all around. Looked like even in this split and in the other split covered on ftf.gg, you guys were rolling, especially as this track slickened off. But despite those problems, how were you able to gain that confidence back after some of that damage? And you were kind of in a situation, like you said, where you were waiting for that caution because you were still the first driver, one lap down, looking for the lucky dog. How much confidence did you end up building just because of the setup and the way the track slickened off in that later half of the race, where it looked like you were able to just knock off position after position after position, and then getting Joey Brown at the very end for third?
Yeah, Joey gave me a good run for it there. We were really scrapping. It's just, I don't know. I never really lost my confidence. It's more of doing a full season of this last year, and then coming in, and then going on a contender last year, and then doing another season of this. I don't know. I feel like I'm so much more. I have a much better mindset for it. So I just, stay steady. I usually, these races play out the same a lot of the time, or they play out either one way or the other. So I just, head down, be patient, and try to outlast a lot of the guys. And then, eventually the race comes to you. So I just want to thank Logitech and VRS and all our sponsors. And like I said, just so proud of all of our boys because, hopefully we're going to have a lot of boys going on to contender here with this run. And I'm just really proud, man. That's awesome.
It is definitely looking like it, and it looks like you're going to be joining that brigade into contender later on this year as well. But there's one race left before we decide the top 20 moving on into the contender series later this year. Texas Motor Speedway. What are your thoughts about that track in the finale?
I think it sucks. I think it's a terrible track and a terrible finale for it. So I haven't used my drop yet, so maybe I just won't show up. We'll see. A little bonus. I don't know. I probably will. But yeah, Texas stinks. So I'll probably ride around. We'll see how we do. But yeah, we'll see. I'm just excited to get on the contender, baby.
Well, nonetheless, still a lot of optimism after this third place finish here tonight from Bristol Dirt. Michael, of course, on behalf of our team here at Podium, want to send you a congratulations on the podium finish. And, of course, wishing you the best of luck going into Texas Motor Speedway if you do run, and the Contender Series later this year.
All right. Thank you very much.
That is Michael Cozy Jr. locking up a Logitech G Altus Esports 1, 2, 3 here from Bristol, with Jordy Lopez Jr. taking the top spot and getting his first win in round number 2. Rachel, sometimes we have our parity where we have many different drivers going to victory lane. We have many different storylines, but often we forget that the powerhouse teams are still the powerhouse teams, and they get to put on performances like this, like they did tonight. Jordy Lopez Jr. getting the win, Tucker Minter in the other split, and Logitech G Altus Esports basically sweeping the whole field out of its shoes.
Yeah, well, from what we heard, it's 1, 2, 3 in both splits, which is crazy. That is a setup that was dialed to work where nobody else's could on a track that they knew would come. So an exciting and interesting development there, and it speaks a lot for Contender and for the Coke series that they're going to have a major threat coming along. And I think other teams in Coke and Contender will need to really worry about this. Logitech G Altus Esports are not a joke.
Yeah, they did not come here to play at all, and they've been a powerhouse team for such a long time here on iRacing, and with a lot of confidence, especially after this sweep from Bristol Dirt. I think that is definitely scary if you're any of the people looking for the Contender Series, because they're going to look to be as strong as ever, and they have a strength in numbers to follow with as well. Bristol Dirt, a very clean race. Jordy Lopez Jr. at the top of the pylon after 110 laps as we move into the final race of round 2 for this eNASCAR Road to Pro qualifying iRacing series, and to decide the top 20 for the eNASCAR Contender Series later on this year. So for Gary Sexton and John Theodore over at Podium Esports, for our producer this evening, Ryan Bauer, our camera builder, Dougie Beard, our overlay builder, Michael Hall, Derek Watson and Garrett Mashburn for our statistics, Cameron Aubernon covering our social media, and for my colleague in the booth tonight, Rachel Whiteford, my name is Kenneth Bueno, saying thank you so much for watching our coverage from Bristol Dirt Motor Speedway. Until then, we'll see you at the Texas Motor Speedway 2 weeks from now to decide the top 20.